Hi, I'm here today with professional women's bantamweight 6-1, Jaeleen the Natural Robledo. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here and I'm super excited.
So I guess, first things first,
Mhm.
you recently were able to defend your Tough Enough bantamweight title. What was that like? Has there been a shift at all switching from becoming the hunter to the hunted?
My mindset has stayed the same. I feel that being in the cage, I like to chase down the best opponents that I can. So I knew that my last opponent, Alejandra Lara, she was um Banta or she was a Bellator title challenger. So for me it was always that I'm not really the hunted because I'm chasing the best. So even if that pressure changes, I'm ready for it as well. So yeah, it was really a really good experience going out to Vegas and defending my title, and it went really well.
And so you mentioned that, fighting a former
Yes.
Bellator bantamweight title challenger
Hmm.
in your seventh pro fight is not typical.
Yeah.
So I guess what is it like? In your last few fights, you're always coming in as the younger opponent with less
Hmm.
professional fights.
Hmm.
I guess based on that, how much of the training camp is tailored to your game versus how much of it is understanding their game?
Well, my fight camps are always game planning, and even when I'm not in fight camp, I like to focus on just getting better overall and improving my game. And when I'm in fight camp, we work specifics, stuff that they are good at, and just making sure that I fulfill the game plan to the best of my ability once fight night comes. So my last two fights being the less experienced, I didn't really feel like that was an issue because I trust my training camp, I trust my coaches. So it was an adjustment there, but it was good.
And then, obviously with women's MMA still being,
Mhm.
recently new compared to men's MMA, I guess what got you into this in the first place, and was there any, inspirations or idols you look up to that, you've been able to, build that relationship with in this space?
My dad wrestling when I was in high school, and after I grew up watching fighting, I grew up watching professional wrestling, so it's always been combat sports in our house. And I remember when I was going into my senior year of high school that it was either college or he was always throwing out the fighting, like, oh, you should get a fight in. And this was the surge of wrestlers in the UFC becoming champions. So at the time I was like, oh, okay, I'll try it. And ever since then I went full on board with fighting, and now I'm here, uh professional, and 6-1, 6 fight win streak. So it's a crazy journey so far.
Certainly. And yeah, you mentioned the six fight win streak. So as far as,
Yes.
what's next, is there any, name or opponent or date or location that you have in mind as to, your next fight or something that you're have your eye on?
We're hoping to fight within the next 2 months, maybe October, November, just trying to get something in before the year ends. It's been a little bit more difficult finding opponents, but to me, I'm not really stressing over it because if I, we're not forcing, so I like to take this time to really improve on things that I've done in my last fights or things that I'm doing in training that, need tune-ups or learning new things. And I just take advantage of every time that I have and every training that I have. So I'm always ready whenever something comes up or a phone call comes in, then we answer.
And so I believe your record, you have it's perfectly split. Your six wins, two by decision, two by submission, and two by knockout. I guess what do you think
Yes.
is the biggest difference from your first professional fight to now? Where do you think the biggest night and day improvement is?
Oh, definitely the approach, I would say. When I went into my first pro fight, it was going in there and just fighting. And I'd say it was like the younger me because I was only 20 at the time. Just going in and, you know, just fighting. But now it's really focusing. I have so much tunnel vision when I'm in there, and it's game plan. details. Just the approach of fight camp, I feel like, is different, and my mentality, my perspective on everything. Because my first pro fight, I did lose by decision. I knew that that never had to happen, that couldn't happen again. So going into every other fight, it was just perform at my fullest, perform at the plan that we have taken on for this opponent and just giving my all in there. So I'd say that that's the biggest difference. I've gained so much experience just from my first fight being in there to now. So I'm a completely different fighter than I was back then.
And I know recently you've had the
Hmm.
opportunity to spar with Cris Cyborg.
Yes.
What has that experience been like? Getting to train with, in a lot of people's eyes, the best women's fighter of all time.
Yeah, it's been a really great experience. She's really taken me in, and I'm learning so much from her, sparring with her, grappling, training in general. She's truly has a champion's mindset, and the way that she goes into training, she doesn't think that she knows everything. She's always willing to learn. She's humble, and when you have that type of mindset, that type of mentality, it just makes learning and everyone around you gravitate towards you. So being around her and seeing that she has that approach just helps me pick some things that I can, put into my game of the way that I do training, the way that I do sparring, or I go into fights. So it's been a really great experience learning from her and training with her, and I'm super grateful to be a part of her camp for this fight.
Yeah, I imagine that must be, just even the small things, just getting the chance to
Yeah.
learn from someone of that magnitude is definitely very rare, once in a lifetime.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, it is.
And so, I guess, you're still only 22, 6-1 on a
Hmm.
6 fight winning streak. And so obviously, you said you're looking to fight in October, November. And so not looking too far in the future, but if we were to sit down again in, 12 to 18 months, I guess where would you want to be in your, both your career professionally? Are there any short-term, mid to medium-term goals you have in line?
Right now, I want to get back in the cage. I say short term, I want to get back in the cage pretty soon. But by this time next year, I'm hoping to be in the UFC. I'm hoping to have a couple more fights under my belt and just gain more experience overall. I know that, I'm only 7 fights in, and as many fights as I can get, I'm willing to make sure that that happens. Once you get into the UFC, it's go time. It's the next level. So I know that I'm ready for it. I know me as a fighter, me as a person, I'm ready for that right now. But as much experience I can get, I will take it.
And I know Fight Matrix, I believe, right now has you ranked as the number one non-UFC women's bantamweight. Is that something that crosses your mind at all, or adds any pressure, or is that just something that doesn't, even appear on your radar when you get accolades such as that?
I yeah, I didn't know that actually. This is my first time finding out about that. But yeah, I mean, I really love that they consider me that. And for me, it's just validating that, all the hard work and all of the time that I put into this, that people are, recognizing it. And, it doesn't add any pressure to me. It just makes me feel like, yeah, that's who I am. And, I'm gonna prove them right. I'm gonna prove the people that see me as, the top, that they're correct on that.
And so, for people that have never seen a Jaeleen fight, how would you describe your fight style? And do you think there's, a best fight in your career that best captures this so far?
My fight style is everywhere. I can stand, I can grapple. Um, I feel like my standout fight that people really see was my Invicta fight last year, last April. Um, that one was one where I think I caught a lot of people's attention, especially my age at the time. I was 21, and the way that I was in there, and my ground and pound was vicious. I'd say that that was one that stood out, and you know, when you have me in the fight, I'm there. Like I'm in there to win, and no matter what, I'm going to make sure that I give it my all, and I'm gonna get that finish too. That's what I go for. I go for the finish. I go for the performance. I go to make sure that I prove that I'm the best out there.
Certainly, with all the finishes you've been racking up, once you got to the UFC, you'd certainly cash in a lot of those $25,000 checks, which would be a nice
Oh
added
yeah.
bonus. That was
Yeah,
never
those
hurt.
bonuses, exactly.
Um, And so, as far as for people to keep up with, fight news and
Mhm.
you and your career, where is best, for people to, keep up with you?
You can follow my Instagram at Jaeleen Robledo. I am on there. I'm updating my fight camps, my trainings, everyday life. I have all my news there. I have my people, my coaches, my team. They're also in my bio. And yeah, that's where I post everything.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on, and yeah, best of luck as you, continue your title defense in Tough Enough, and I look forward to watching you take the UFC belt.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.